600. So now both of them will now say, okay, now let us agree to share profit at 50-50. Why? Because the company is, or because Abdullah is providing the management and technical expertise. So that's why they are saying, let us share 50-50. They could agree 60-40, they could agree 30-70, anything they agree, fine. So now, if how do they share loss? In Musharaka, loss must be shared strictly according to the what? Capital contribution ratio. The capital contribution ratio is what? 60-40. So when there is a loss, they will also share it in that regard also. So also, so management, so both as regard the management of that investment, both parties have the right to participate in management. So the bank can also wake up and say, oh, well, we want to see where you are putting our money. They have the right to say that also, because they both have a share of capital. So some interesting features of Musharaka is that the product is reserved for the most loyal and honest of customers. So, banks don't like engaging in Musharaka, or maybe some microfinance Islamic banks, they engage in it, but the person has to be very honest, and they will check the background of that person. Is he an honest person? Because it's a transaction that is very, very delicate, and banks have to be careful, or anybody that is engaging in that transaction must be careful. So all assets of Musharaka are jointly owned in proportion to the capital of each partners. All partners must contribute their capital in terms of money or commodity or other assets. Profit fixing is not allowed, but profit sharing must be agreed. So because Abdullah cannot say, or the bank cannot say we want to be receiving 500,000 every month. No, it is only profit sharing based on an agreed ratio. They cannot fix it that we must be receiving this. No, whatever that transaction generates as profit is what they are going to share. It is the least used product in non-interest financial institution. So I've said it before, because of it has to do with what? Honesty of all parties. So that's for what Musharaka. So the need different from Musharaka is an agreement where two or more parties, yes, they enter into the commercial purpose. So in Mudaraba, there are some terminology we need to know, which we'll call Rabbul Mal. The Rabbul Mal is somebody that provides the capital, and the Mudarib is someone that brings the expertise. That is that he knows about that business. Maybe he is the farmer. He knows more about that business. So that's what we call Mudaraba. So between Rabbul Mal, the provide the capital, and the Mudarib, the business. So an example of Mudaraba can be like, example, Yusuf situation forth. Okay, so I think I've explained how the profit and loss sharing will be shared between Zaid and Yusuf. What we call Murabaha. So Murabaha is derived from the Arabic word Rabaha, which means to make a profit from a deal. So in Murabaha, what happens is that sellers cost acquiring the assets, and the profits earned from it are disclosed to the client. So we will understand Murabaha. We understand Musharaka. Musharaka, yes, they both provide capital. Mudaraba, one person is Rabbul Mal, the other person is Mudarib. Now, Murabaha is, for example, let's say Abdullah wants to buy 20,000, let's say 5 million car, but does not have the cash. So he goes to the bank, or he goes to the Islamic bank, he buys the car. The bank will be the one to go to the selling car. The bank must own that car. You understand? In their own name, that we have bought the car, they must own that car. Then, million. But before we can engage in Murabaha activity, we want to include, okay, Okay, the bank will now say we want to include, let's say, 10% return of investment from this your car, but you will pay it in what? In 2 years. So the bank will disclose what they are adding on that what? On that car. They will say this is what we are adding, 15%, 10%, 7%. It depends on what the bank used to trade. So it is clear. That's not riba. Some people will say Murabaha is more of riba. Why are they adding a percentage? No, because it will never change. If it was in commercial bank, they will tell you that things have changed now. There is inflation. So the 15% of last year is not the 15% of this year. That's what the bank will say. But in Murabaha, once the bank says 10%, 10% is 10%. They are not going to change, and they will allow you to pay it for that fixed period. It can be 2 years, it can be a year, and you'll be paying it what? On a monthly basis. So that one is the car, and the bank own that asset. And before the bank even sell it to you, they will collect called Hamish Jidiya, a security deposit. A security deposit that, okay, let's even see whether this person has money. They can tell you that, okay, you want to buy a car 5 million, Abi, they are deposit 1 million first. So that's like a security deposit, because the bank is going to buy a car, and you can say you're not buying again now. Who is going to incur all the losses? So that's why the bank will call a security deposit. You now start spreading the payments. So it could just be they bought the car for 5 million, and at the end of the day you are paying maybe 6 million. So that's what we call what? Murabaha. So let me move on to the slide. So for Murabaha, there is a pricing, there is a default, there is no repricing. The subject matter has to exist. The bank must own the assets and have either physical or constructive possession. The asset must be tangible, good, clearly identified, quantifiable, and Sharia compliant. So the pricing, that's what we call the asset cost transaction. So parties to the contract agree on the profit rate. The overall price may be at the spot or deferred and paid at a lump sum at the end of the contract. An investment that most banks they enjoy, because it's kind of how will I say, there's an asset, they bought that item, so it's very flexible, and the banks like engaging in Murabaha activities. So Murabaha, the use of Murabaha is they use it for mostly movable assets like land, car, commodities, household appliance, machineries, and raw materials. So moving to istisna is different from Murabaha. So istisna is saying that, let me give a case study, like you need a delivery van for your business. As we read through this slide, I'm giving a case study. You need a delivery van for your business. So let me put it this way. Okay, let's say like a local community, maybe Oshodi, Mushi, or anywhere, they want to build a new private school for students or for their children. So since the building does not exist, what is istisna contract, where a bank or an investor, it will pay the contractor in stages as the walls and roof go up. So this one is very good. So there are usually three parties: the producer of that item, which can be the contractor in the case of a building, or the bank itself, who will be the financial is the one providing capital, while the customer will now be the one in an exchange for rent, which at the end of the lease period may result in transferring the subject matter ownership. That Ijaro, we are paying rent on them. So the subject of lease must having no Yusuf for complete payments to them, and part goes towards buying that van. So it's like, as you are renting that van, you are also buying the value, the van itself. So maybe after 4 years, the ownership is transferred to you. So you now own that van. You'll be the owner. So that's for Ijaro Muntahi Bitemlik. So you are paying rent, and also you are also buying the right of that van. But the standard Ijaro is just for a specific period, 1 year, oh yeah, you leave the house or you return that item. So that's what we call ijara. So these are some of the ijara the clients and lessors enter into a promise to execute an ijara for the usufruct of the particular asset. A lot of them, but because of time, I'm trying to move faster, and inshallah we can get this slide later on. So the uses of ijara, can use ijara for mortgages, vehicle finances, asset finances, mostly immovable items, or for services like medical bill payment, school fees payment, Hajj, airline finances. So yeah, the uses of ijara and ijara. So it could be an asset or it could be a you are providing. So that's for ijara. The next one, which is what we call called. So which some people call it called the Hassan loan. So called is a loan extended on a goodwill basis, with the debtor only required to repay the amount borrowed. So what this means is that if I borrow you 1,000 naira, I'm only liable to pay that 1,000 naira. So that's what we call called. It's just a benevolent loan. We pay Hassan, but many Islamic banks they give out loan just for for the well-being of the society, and some Muslims philanthropists. Now these are other and stocks, mutual funds. So some people will be like, what is a mutual fund? A halal mutual fund is a professionally managed that pulls money from many investors to buy a diversified asset. So mutual fund is just like not so many items. So that is mutual fund. You have sukuk is in that what?
My eyes are so heavy.
Okay, I think someone is. So we also have real estate, different investments that are professionally managed by some people or some professionals. So another one is halal stocks. The halal stocks are shares of public companies that have passed through specific levels of screening. We are going to screen the business. Are they engaging in what? Halal or Sharia compliant activities, transaction, and also the financial screening, where they are getting money from, how they are using that money. So that's what we call what stock. It's just like you are buying a share from a Sharia compliant company. So it's different from mutual fund. Mutual fund is an investment. Yeah. It's just like when you put your money in Jai's bank, you put another money in another Islamic bank, in different Islamic bank, and you could be expecting a return from them. Just because you are diversifying your investments. Understand? So it will be managed by different professionals. That's what we call mutual funds. Now let's look at the two, so that you can decide which one you will pick or you would like to go for after this webinar. When we talk about mutual funds, it is being managed by professionals. Some people are monitoring it, they are checking it, they have spread your investments, so is the risk is a bit low. But when we talk about halal stock, it is managed by you. That is, before you can invest in any company, invest in any company, you need to read about that company. How have they been doing? Get their financials. What have they done in the past 5 years? Because you are putting your money in a company that maybe that year they will not do well, but they did well last year. So it is being managed by you because it is based on the performance of that company. I hope we can hear me, please.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. We can.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay.
But I think Mr. Oyeni needs to. Okay, I think he has mute himself.
Okay. Thank you. So diversification. Diversification in mutual fund, they like one fund contain many assets, many things. But in halal stock, unless you buy more different stocks, so if you buy from this, you buy from that. But if you are buying one, that's why the risk is very high. Effort level. If you look at the effort level in mutual fund, just put your money there, you set it and you forget it. But for halal stock, you must monitor it, because if it is going down, you just have to withdraw your money. But if you are someone that you enjoy risk, leave it. Because it is going down or their earning loss does not mean they will not earn profits soon. Moderate, the risk level is that halal mutual funds are moderate in terms of, they don't incur loss. Don't say because I said they are moderate. They incur losses, but because your investment are in different portfolios, so it is moderate. But halal stocks, they are very high. It's very high. If it goes down, it goes down totally. If it comes up at a very high. Best for mutual funds is best for what? Beginners or busy professionals. While halal stock is just best for someone who has been investing for a while and he just wants to take more risk in a Sharia compliant manner. So now let's look at mutual funds. This is where it gets interesting. The mutual funds and stocks that you yourself you can buy. Look at the stocks we have there. Dangote. All these figures on 25 December, what they have made, at the end of the year last year. So stocks are like Dangote Cement, Boa Foods, Jaiz Bank, and the rest of them. So they are examples of Sharia compliance. Lotus Capital, Halal, 5, you can as low as 5,000, and all of these 10,000, 5,000, they are all Sharia compliant. These are what we call the Halal fund. So the one on my right, on my left are stocks. The one on my right are examples of what mutual funds or asset management, Islamic, that they engage. All of these. How about the cowrie rice? Cowrie rice is just an application that has everything in it. You understand? It has stocks, it has halal. It's not just, cowrie rice is just like a third party where you can engage with all of these things that I'm showing on this. They have the top 15 Sharia compliant performance. As at last year, look at this. So Stanbic IBTC Iman, they make 92.56%, 55%. Lotus Halal, 35.96%. So this just shows that these are very good investments. Where will you get 61 point of your money? Nowhere. But these are not guaranteed. That's what you must understand. They are not guaranteed. It increases. So you need to read about all of these things, study them to know which one you are going to pick. The one at the bottom can be the one performing this year. Maybe you say, this one is 7.39%. The one on number 15. And it's fine. But they can be the one champion this year. So that's how it is. But you need to study what the company is doing to understand them better. So, and these are stocks that you can engage in. Jaiz Bank, also they have a stock. They are MTN. MTN is also Sharia compliant. CAP, Boa Cement, and Boa Foods. So, and they also pay dividend. Yeah, dividend. All these stocks, they also pay dividend at the end of maybe quarterly or monthly basis. Sukuk. You'll have been hearing sukuk here and there. And what is sukuk? What is sukuk? So it's what we call bond. In conventional, we call them bond. In Islamic, we call them Islamic bond. I need to move now. Okay. So sukuk is often referred to as Islamic bonds, but they are structurally different from what conventional bonds. while a bond is a debt obligation, someone owes you money plus interest. Conventional bond thing to do, they just pay interest. But sukuk, there is a partial ownership in a specific asset, project, or investment. It's riba. So sukuk holders, they earn a share of profit in the underlying assets rather than what? Interest payments. So let's move to the next slide. So now let's look at how sukuk has been doing. If you look at the chart, you see the federal government of Nigeria's sovereign grants. So right from 2017 down to 2025. So the first series one they engage in, it was